Hey guys, you know how I usually do things. I just walk up and find me a hiker and see if I can get them to tell me a story or something about them. And this is a unique deal, and I'll try to explain it a little bit later after they share with you what I ask them. Tell me a little bit, first of all, your trail name, and then we'll get more after that.
I'm Flomo.
Slow-mo?
Flomo.
Flow, okay.
And I'm AM Fog.
A-M-F-O-G?
Yep.
Okay, good. Now, first of all, tell me where you're from.
I grew up in New Jersey, but now I live in Nashville.
Nashville?
And I'm from Grundy, Virginia, but I've been living in Charlottesville, Virginia for the past few years.
And y'all just finished Katahdin when?
August 27th.
Yep.
August 27th. I'll ask you first, when did you start your thru hike?
I started at Springer Mountain on March 4th.
March 4th. And what day did y'all summit?
August 27th.
And when did y'all meet this year?
We met in Maryland probably late May.
Yeah.
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 Okay, now I'm going to let her tell her story. You didn't start this year.
No, I started in 2016 at Springer and hiked to Harper's Ferry. And then in 2018, I started in Harper's Ferry in May and went to Katahdin.
What made you decide to hike the Appalachian Trail?
Just growing up, did some hikes with a Camp Matalianaque, and so it exposed me to the Appalachian Trail.
What made you to hike the Appalachian Trail, A.M.?
I was in Boy Scouts growing up and had a just awesome scout leader and did some really cool backpacking trips in some national parks out west, and bug kind of bit me then, so I've always wanted to do it since then.
How'd you get your name?
So my coworkers at my old job before I started hiking this year had like a big going away party for me, and they wanted to give me my trail name as part of the party, so my initials are AM, and there's a farm down the road from our office called AM Fog Farms. So that was like one person's suggestion that I really liked a lot, and I thought that'd be kind of cool, to kind of pay tribute to a group of people that I really think very fondly of.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
How about your trail name?
It was actually in Georgia by section hikers, and I didn't have a name yet, and I said, my nickname at home is Mo, and I'm a nurse, so it's Florence Nightingale and Mo put together.
Flo-mo.
Yeah.
Flo-mo.
Yeah.
And you answered to it, so
Yeah.
you've been answering to it ever since.
Yeah.
Now, y'all didn't know each other, and you didn't start hiking together because you hiked the year before him, and so y'all kind of became an item on the trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And y'all are dating now?
Yeah.
That's cool. And I was just talking to you off camera a little bit about how unusual it is to be dating somebody after you spend that much time, because you really get to know each other a lot on the trail. And either you hate each other when you get away from them, or you got a bigger and better relationship, right?
I would say the latter.
Yeah.
The latter. And how often have y'all seen each other since? And it's only been since August, so less than 2 months.
Yeah.
Quite a bit, I would say.
Yeah.
I helped Flomo move her stuff from New Jersey back to Nashville, and then she flew out to Charlottesville. I guess we've been hanging out for about a week and a half straight at this point now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back to trail stuff. What do you think changed you the most for having hiked the Appalachian Trail?
I would say, I don't know. You
go first.
I'd say some point shortly after meeting Flomo, I think we both probably caused each other to slow our pace down.
Okay.
A little bit, and I kind of went into it with this mentality of I want to do X amount of miles every day, and I'd like to finish by such and such a date. But I think just like stopped really caring about trying to finish by a particular date or keep up with a certain speed, and just really slowed down and enjoyed things as they were happening, which I would like to say that I've done before in my life, but I can't say I really did it until I hiked the trail, and I feel like something in me changed it. I feel like I've started to enjoy
the simple things?
Simple things so much more than I did before.
Flo, what about you?
That's a hard question. I think a lot of things change that you can't pinpoint, but I would say just being a part of such a tight-knit community makes you approach meeting new people and relationships in a different way.
What about confidence? Do you have more confidence now than prior to hiking, or not?
Yeah, I think I remember it was a turning point probably when I got to Tennessee, where I really felt like I could go anywhere and do anything with just what I have on my back, and that was a very liberating feeling.
How much thought did you give to budgeting for Appalachian Trail through hike?
That's a good question.
That is a very good question.
Do you remember when you were planning?
I did, yeah. I was just trying to put away like a certain percentage of my paycheck from my job.
But did you have an amount in your mind that you thought it might cost you to do it?
I was thinking somewhere in the neighborhood of like $5,000 to $7,000, which I still think is pretty.
Do you think that's reasonable? Is that a reasonable
I think
number?
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Flo, what about you?
Well, I think I've spent a little more than that.
Okay.
Probably in total, like over the 2 summers, I was probably like 10 grand.
That's what most people tell me.
Yeah.
Really?
And
it depends on the kind of hike you hike, as you well know.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's people out there who do it a lot cheaper, but they're not going to
Yeah.
have the enjoyment that you have.
Yeah, and
So-
I did it over 2 summers, which
Right.
financially was
Makes
really
it-
helpful.
makes-
yeah.
Well, it's financially helped you, but it also helped you split it up that way between 2 years, but it helped you for the second part of it because you more knew exactly how
Yes.
to budget for it.
And yes, and I knew that I wasn't gonna have a good. I knew I was gonna struggle to stick to a budget, so the second time I really saved a lot of money.
So let me ask
I
you
was comfortable.
the question simply, if somebody's watching this thinking about the through hike in the
Yeah.
future, how much time would you advise them to think about a budget?
Well, I will say that I had like 5 grand just in my bank account to save extra savings, and I decided that I was just gonna I decided on Friday that I was going to hike, and then less than 2 weeks later I was actually hiking.
Wow.
So I really didn't put much thought into it.
Right,
at all.
you didn't have to put much thought, but you think it's important.
But well, yeah, I think you need to be realistic and save money, but at the same time, you meet so many people out here who do it on
A lot cheaper.
a lot cheaper
Right.
or at their own pace,
Right.
and maybe doing it over sections
Right.
like I did is cheaper too.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a hard one because I don't think you really know until you get out here.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And you too? You agree with that,
I agree
Maynard?
with that, absolutely.
Did either one of you know somebody personally that had hiked the Appalachian Trail and completed it before you did yours?
I knew people who had done it, friends of friends, or just like people, but no one that I was like super close with.
Okay, well let me
that I can
expound on
think
that.
of.
Do you remember the first time you met somebody that had hiked the Appalachian Trail? And do you remember what your thoughts were about that meeting?
I can answer to this.
Okay.
while I
Yeah,
think
you
about
go
it.
for that
So when I was section hiking, or when I was doing these hikes with my camp, and I was leading some of
Yeah.
these hikes out, I remember meeting, and I had actually met quite a few through hikers at that point, but I met a young woman in her 20s who was hiking alone with a dog, and I remember meeting her and feeling like, well, gosh, if she's out here doing it by herself, then then I could totally do it too.
Yeah.
So that was one person that I just like have always had in the back of my head of like.
So she made a pretty big impression upon you?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and did the persons that you meet make an impression on you?
Yeah, I know some of my dad's friends that I know, but I'm not super close
I
with
know.
them. But talking to them about the trail and then other friends of friends, it's, to me, every time I met someone who had through hiked the trail and talked to them about it, it just reinforced how much I really wanted to do it myself.
But you'll see where I'm going with this in a second. Did it give you a high impression of them that they had done that and accomplished that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, really? And you too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, for the good part,
Yeah.
do you either one of you ever thought about the number of people that you will meet from now to the day you die, that you're going to be the first person they've ever met that's hiked the Appalachian Trail?
Yeah, I think I've already been a little bit surprised by that and how many people don't know much about it at all. And
Yeah.
I really love the thought of like meeting other women who want to hike.
Good deal
And
for you.
Yeah.
And you
So-
being the inspiration.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
like that woman was for me.
Right.
Just like
Didn't
just
do
kinda
it for that
changed
reason,
it.
but that's a benefit for having done what you've
she
done.
totally changed my perspective on what you can do by yourself. So
And did you either one of you think about what this could do for you as far as jobs in the future as what this is going to do for a resume.
Hey, I put it on my resume.
I'll
I
definitely put it
guarantee
on
you.
mine, too.
Yeah.
I guarantee you will find out in your life that makes a huge difference, guys.
Yeah.
And you're going to see that. You didn't hike for that reason, but now that you have successfully done it,
Yeah.
that's going to make a big
It's an
difference.
accomplishment for sure.
If you had to give advice for a person that's watching this, and just one piece of advice, anything you want to say, that was thinking about hiking the Appalachian Trail next year or the year after next, Flo, what would you tell them?
I would say don't stress too much about planning. Just get out there and be flexible with changing gear, changing plans, because there's going to be a huge learning curve that you have to get around. So don't worry. I would say don't micromanage your
Okay.
whole trip until you get out here, and maybe even like hold off on buying that really expensive gear if you can, until you get out here. But I know that's tough.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. What about you?
I would suggest maybe doing some shorter, 2 to even a week, 2 days to a week long hikes.
Practice hikes.
Yeah, practice hikes. Because I think before I left to go, probably the longest hiking trip I had been on was like 3, maybe 4 days. And so can
Mhm.
really be eye-opening.
You said 2 to 3 weeks.
Days.
No, he's saying,
Oh.
what would you suggest? 2 or 3
I would
weeks?
suggest maybe doing like a week long.
A week long?
If someone could do that.
Okay.
Well, the other
Um,
thought with that section hikers are always like, oh, I could never go for that long. But if you're out here for only 1 week, you
don't
have
really
your hiker.
adjust, yeah.
There's definitely an adjustment period.
Well, but where it does help in the 1 week, you learn your equipment.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've seen
Yes.
people that had not put their tent up until the first night on the trail.
Yeah,
honestly.
that's true.
Definitely do
You know,
that.
Is it anything on the trail that just sticks out in your mind that was one of the funniest things that happened to you while you was on the trail?
Funniest things that have happened.
Or let's rephrase that. Was there anything unusual that happened? That she's laughing, so she must have a couple of thoughts in her mind anyway.
We have one shared crazy story,
Oh,
but we won't.
Won't
share
tell that
one.
today? Okay.
Yeah.
okay. And the reason I tell you that, and I tell you, and then maybe this will spike something in the back of your mind. I had a guy asked at the NOC.
Yeah.
I said, "You got anything unusual that's happened to you?" And he said, "You're not going to believe this." He said, "A wild goat ran up to me and almost run me over." And I said, "Okay." And I didn't think much about it. And I set the camera down, gave him something to eat and all. And while he's eating, he tells me that the night before he was supposed to start, he and his girlfriend and his dad and his best friend was in a restaurant eating. When they come out, somebody broke in the car and stole every single thing that he had to hike the Appalachian Trail.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, when I asked you a while ago anything unusual, and you didn't mention that, you told me about the goat. And so anyway, he told me, and he started 1 day later than he was supposed to, because I had a sale the next day, and his daddy loaned him some gear and his best friend loaned him.
Oh wow.
So that was a very unusual story.
That is
Yeah.
And I was
unusual.
just, there's lots of crazy things that happen out there that, sometimes we don't even want to talk about, but I was just curious if there's anything that maybe y'all, a funny story or something.
I'm thinking about like the baby squirrel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You should tell that story.
So when we were hiking through Massachusetts, we got to Upper Goose Pond.
Oh
which
yeah,
Definitely one of my favorite places on
Yes.
the trail. Beautiful. And we get there kind of late in the afternoon one day and go out on the pond. And then the next morning we wake up and another through hiker comes through, and it had rained really hard the night before. And he has this little baby squirrel that apparently in that rainstorm he was night hiking to get to the cabin, and a squirrel had just fallen off a tree and hit him on the head and landed on the ground. And he said he kind of sat there for a minute and debated on what to do. And he's like, well, if I don't take this squirrel with me, it's probably no chance that it's going to live. So he picks it up, and I think he made like a little
Yeah.
bandana sling and had the squirrel in it against his chest to keep it warm. And so he had it the next morning. He's like, I don't know what to do with it now, though. So we were all taking kind of turns holding it to keep the squirrel warm, and we like looked up on someone's phone like that you can give squirrels milk or like sugar water, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So we had like a little sugar water in a Ziploc bag with a hole punched in it, and the squirrel was just eating it out of it. And then one of Flomo's friends who hiked with her back in 2016 just so happened to be out for a couple of days hiking with us, and he took the squirrel back to Boston with him. But that was just like a really cool.
Yeah, a little
Experience.
baby squirrel.
Yeah.
is the squirrel doing good today?
The squirrel got pneumonia and passed away.
Oh wow,
Yeah, but I know that, I guess, it wasn't walking right when we got
I
it. So
think just from the fall itself,
it
it
had
really
gotten
hurt its
hurt.
hip.
So.
Yeah.
Funny
But it
story.
had some good human love.
Yeah.
in
The
there.
guy, you remember Buena Vista? Did
Yeah.
you go into Buena
Yeah.
Vista? When my wife threw hiking in 2014, one of the guys with her, they had a county fair going on when we went into Buena Vista.
Yeah.
And so we was going to go to the fair, and something else come up to distract us, but one of them said, I'm going to the county fair. I went to pick him up at 10:30 at night. He had won a goldfish, and he carried that goldfish in a bag for 2 weeks, and he finally put it out in a creek on the Appalachian Trail. I was like, I cannot believe you carried
That
this
is so
goldfish.
funny.
I know y'all got to get out of here because y'all already late getting home. You got to get back to Nashville. You got to get back to Virginia. Anybody you want to say hello to, or any words you might want to say before we close?
Hello, Tunes.
Hello, Tunes. Hello, Sally Forth.
Sally Forth.
We came out here today to do some trail magic for a friend of ours, Sally Forth, who's
Yeah.
doing a flip-flop hike and is just 400 miles away from finishing
Yeah.
right now.
Well, that's
Yeah.
great of y'all to do that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and giving back to the trail already, and you've only been finished 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
also,
God-
hello to Fox.
Yeah.
And
I
then
love
also
Fox.
to my Trail Brothers 2016, Pretzel and Hatchet.
Okay?
Yeah.
And most of the time it's good to say, when you're hiking, when I ask this question, I always kind of prompt them to say something about mom and dad. You may get more money sent to you or something like
Yeah.
that. But you're finished your hike, so you don't need to thank them
Yeah.
as much, do
No,
we?
we still
Definitely.
always have to thank them.
Huge thanks to Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
Mom dropped me off down in Georgia and
Said, "Don't come home till you
periodically
get to Maine,"
shipped me
huh,
stuff
son?
along the way. Yeah.
Hey guys, thank y'all for taking a
Thank
few
you very
minutes, and
much.
God bless your lives from here out. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your life telling the story about what you've accomplished.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you very much.
Thank you.